This conference will now be recorded.
Here we go.
Okay, so we're now recording, and is the live stream going okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, since I'm out of town, I think it'd be great if Mayor Pro Tem Powers, you could chair the meeting tonight.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is our now weekly meeting. We're starting to have these weekly for a while to get caught up. We'll have a roll call, so for attendance, so Commissioner Nye.
Here.
Commissioner Brennan.
Here.
Commissioner Donner.
Here.
Mayor Jaramillo.
Here.
And I'm here, Commissioner Powers. So, we'll start with the invocation. Would anybody like to volunteer?
I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you, Lord, thanking you and praising you for another day, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you send some moisture our way, Lord, as our state seems to be on fire, Lord. Lord, we just ask, and not in a good way. Lord, we just ask that you please just bring that much needed moisture and that relief to so many that need it, Lord. Lord, just guide us, guide our thoughts and actions, Lord, as we try to do your will in all things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner Donner. So we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And we don't quite have the minutes from last week's meeting. We're still within the 10-day window, but we should have those shortly. So that, we're gonna skip item 3 tonight. And then we go right to public comment. Is there anyone in the room that would like to make a public comment?
Mayor Pro Tem, I was thinking of making a motion on the minutes to pull them for amendment.
Okay. That's acceptable if we have a second.
Second.
Okay, to pull the minutes for amendment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So now we'll go to public comment. I see that we had nobody, everyone declined, so can we go to the GoToMeeting participants? Would you please unmute yourself if there's anybody on GoToMeeting that would like to speak? And then we'll go to the phones. Okay, seeing none, there is anyone that wants to speak, we will unmute caller number 2. If you're on the telephone and would like to speak, please go ahead. Okay, hearing none, then we'll go to matters from the mayor.
All right, good evening, everyone. I guess first off, I would like to introduce our newly appointed town manager, Scott Sensenbauer. I hope that I didn't butcher your name. I got it. And so if he could say a few words, introduce himself to the town, I think that would be great. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. You said it perfectly, which is impressive because I know that's not easy. So, Mayor, Commission, I just want to say how thankful I am, and there's no words to describe how excited I am to come and work with the town. It is just something I want to do and have wanted to do for a long time. And when I got to meet with you, I felt just a real good connection that this was right. And I am so excited for my wife and I to come and to be there. We already got a place to rent while we look and find a house to buy. And so this is really good for all of us. Edgewood has such a bright future and such an exciting thing then I can't wait to be there. Really for the residents, any residents and citizens who are present, I just want to tell you how excited I am to come and also make a pledge and a commitment to you that this is going to be a wonderful thing. I'm looking forward to getting to know you, to work with you, to make sure that I do my part, to make sure that the town, that you as the residents and the citizens who are our bosses feel appreciated, listened to, and that you have a voice and your feelings matter, and that we're going to do wonderful things together. I'll just briefly tell you my background. I'm not from Edgewood, but I have lived almost all my life in New Mexico. I grew up in Silver City. That's where I'm from originally. But for almost all of my professional career and living as an adult, was just across the river in Rio Rancho, where I worked for the city for a long time. So I've been in local government for a long time. This is just a wonderful next step. I'm really excited to get to know you, to work with you, and just to be a very active, engaged part of the community. Again, thank you so much, and see you in just a little over a month.
Thank you. We're looking forward to that as well. Anything else from the mayor?
Just a comment to thank everyone who has been working very hard with the Youth Events for Summer program, the YES program, and also the Junior Police Academy. So thank you, everyone. I think it's just beautiful to see the next generation coming up, the younglings, I call them, at Town Hall. And it might be just a little disruptive, but I'm glad that Town Hall is alive and activities and programs are happening. So I'm just happy about that. And again, just super grateful for everyone who has made it happen.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Jaramillo. Next will be matters from the commissioners, and I'll go first. I want to say too, it's been pretty exciting seeing all these kids running around. It's pretty lively around here. So it's great to see those programs, and some of these programs haven't been available for years and years. So it's really great to see as a start, fresh, a cold start. It's been doing really well. So again, I want to thank everybody too that's participated in that. The community's really pitched in, come together. It's been great to see. Also tonight, we will have a report on Echo Ridge, the project. We're moving along really fast. We've been on short deadlines because of these expiring grants, but we've been managing to get the work done, and Will Bankin will report on that later, and he's been doing the on-site supervision, which has been going great. He's been doing a great job. So that's it for me. Commissioner Brennan.
Okay, not much for tonight, but I would like to just talk to the commission here about possibly for next meeting, discussing some sort of transportation system we could set up for the elderly and disabled during the regular voting season. Evidently, there were a lot of people that wanted to get out to vote and couldn't do it because they didn't have any means of transportation because of their age or their disabilities. So it's just something I want to make sure we get on next week's agenda.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Can we put that on the agenda for next week? And then Commissioner Donner.
So I don't have a whole lot. Broadband is moving forward. I'll have some stuff to report on probably over the next couple of meetings.
Okay, well, welcome back. Glad you're well.
Yeah, no, I feel a heck of a lot better. Knocked me down pretty good, so.
And Commissioner Nunn.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Sterling, you can't blame me. I didn't give it to you. I would like to just a little friendly reminder that we're having a Veterans Outreach event starting June 22nd from 4 to 6. So it's just kind of a friendly reminder to the veterans that we have here in the town of Edgewood and the surrounding areas. They're all welcome to come and see if there's any type of services that they would be or could qualify for. We're supposed to have something like anywhere from 12 to 15 vendors. So please come and, get as much information as you can, and hopefully they'll be able to help you guys out. Appreciate your service. Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have matters from the interim clerk treasurer.
Actually, at this time, I have no matters.
Okay.
Manners?
Matters.
Oh.
I have manners.
Lots of manners, but no matters. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not on my agenda. Did you have something?
No.
Oh, okay, okay. And then, matters from the interim town manager.
Yes, I would like to introduce the most current hire, Mr. Michael Tenario. He is our, maintenance janitor custodian, and also he is, from the DOT, so if we ever need any help with the, in the wintertime with any of our, road maintenance, he is available, which is excellent combination.
We can always use that. Welcome.
Welcome to town of Edgewood, and thank you for accepting your offer.
Okay, so we go on to discussion and action items for tonight. Item 9A is approval for resolution 2022-12, authorizing existing 20% para pickup for general members. As you'll recall, last week, there was a definite lack of clarity on my part, at least, about what this really is and the impacts. I dug into this with Kay and Stephanie, who helped me understand what this is. There was a resolution 2018-09 that initiated this pickup, and we've been having these escalating para increases, which if we don't do something about it, it hits the employees, and would actually, in this case, be a pay cut, because this has been the existing arrangement that we're picking up 20% as of 2018. So if we decline to do this, it would actually be a pay cut of as much as $3,000 a year to down to $1,500 a year, depending on their pay grade and pay level. So I just wanted to understand what this was, and like I said last week, I probably wasn't going to like what I heard, because we really can't do much about this from the para side. They're going to keep doing this, it looks like, for a few years to make up for some losses that occurred. So given all of that, I'm satisfied that this is kind of the best thing to do, given, the best choice we can make. So I'll entertain a motion if you all want to do it, and we can still have discussion after that if you'd like.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-12, authorizing existing 20% para pickup for general members.
I hear a second.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Nye seconds. Would you like some more discussion on this?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Pro Tem Chair, Jerry, sorry. Do we have a deadline to have this submitted?
Yes, we do. We have to actually get it back to Para tomorrow.
Okay, then we need to change the signatures and put in, Pro Tem.
Yes, sir. I have that ready on the mayor's desk.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Item B is approval for resolution number 2022-13, authorizing existing 40% para pickup for Edgewood police officers. And this is virtually the same thing for the police department, rather than the general member, specifically for the police. So
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2022-13, authorizing existing 40% para pickup for Edgewood police officers.
Second.
okay, motion's been made and seconded. Would you like some discussion on this?
No, I think we discussed this one, done.
Okay. Okay, then we'll hold the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Sheriff,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
we need to make a correction on the signatures on that one too.
Okay. So item C, approval of job description and recruitment for police department lieutenant. This is creating a new position. We haven't had a lieutenant position up till now. And I'll entertain a motion on this one.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that the town of Edgewood approve the position of police lieutenant in the Edgewood Police Department.
And the job description?
Can we read the job description now?
I don't think we need to read it out, but can we add that on to to prove both the position?
Yes, okay, and the job description.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any, discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll hold the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item D is approval and review of the facility usage policy. It's in the packet. We've all had a chance to review it. So I will entertain a motion on this, and then if you'd like, we could have some discussion. Commissioner Donner, did you say so?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I thought I heard you say so.
No.
Okay, I'll make the motion for, approval and review of the facility usage policy.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, on this one, I just wanted to point out that we did some research on this, and some of the items in, as far as what the community center cannot be used for, were very surprising to me. And so we took a look at the deed, and in all actuality, the party that donated the community center put these as restrictions per the warranty deed. And so while this does not mean that this has to be for every single facility in the town or that the town owns, it is very specific only to the community center over there by the skate park and by the PD. So I just wanted to point that out, and it was time to just kind of refresh and renew this facilities usage agreement, and then we will move forward as needed on any other facilities. I believe last time we did approve a deposit for usage of Venus Park, but if we need to formulate a policy and procedure on any others, we can. But this one is just, like I said, specifically for the small community center.
Okay, we'll have a separate usage agreement for Venus Park. We already have one, I guess.
Yeah, and we approved the fee as far as the deposit because there were people that weren't cleaning up, after their animals or picking up trash and things like that. And so we needed to add that in. But if there's anything that we need to update on that one, we can in the future.
Okay. Any questions, any discussion?
I just have a question on the open space facility policy that we have. Paragraph C, prohibited activities, possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages. So is there a waiver for things like when we do bachelor, brews on the bachelor, or?
Is it, I'm wondering if this prohibition is just for the community center, because I know that we have, provided vendors that had alcoholic beverages on some of the other, town property.
Right, I'm just concerned about the language here for, because it says Edgewood open space and facilities.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Mayor, do you know the answer to that?
Are you looking at a separate one, Commissioner Brennan?
Yeah, it's it was the second page that was in the packet entitled Town of Edgewood Open Space Site and Facilities Policy and Procedures. Soccer field and or pavilion may be rented for individual or group use. Use of facility is from dawn to dusk.
Okay, so I only have, in the public packet, I only have the user policies and procedures for the community center. So
Page 2 of that.
yeah, I don't have a page 2 of that. I just have approved June 7th, 2022 with the signature area for the community center. That's all I have. So I think we won't be able to discuss or well, I suppose we could discuss, but it probably can't really take action on anything except this one for the community center.
Madam Mayor, it was part of the packet that we put on the website. The second one for the, Venus Park and the pavilion.
Okay, so I'm in that online, and I go from page 7, job description from police lieutenant, and there's 3 pages, 4 pages, and then page 11 is Town of Edgewood Community Center user policies and procedures, and it's page 11 of 11, and there's no second page.
Okay, we'll limit tonight's discussion to the Edgewood Community Center user policies and procedures then. Do we need to revise our motion? I guess the motion was to approve the review the facility usage policy. So I'll amend that to be the usage policy as it pertains to the Town of Edgewood Community Center only for tonight. Is the second still in place? Who seconded this one? You okay with that, Sterling?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right, thank you. Okay, any discussion or questions on the community center usage policy?
So those prohibitions for the community center, is that a lifetime thing, or does it have it's a lifetime thing?
Well, there's restrictions on the deed. We got that property. I think the property was donated and there were restrictions on the deed that require that.
Interesting.
All right. Go ahead, Commissioner Knight.
We're talking about the open space, not the city hall county.
It's the community center.
Yeah, that's the only one that has the
Yeah.
restrictions. The other one does not have any restrictions on it, which is the open space, but we're not talking about that one right now, so I don't know if that's what your question was?
No, the question was, is on the second page that I had,
Yes, that's what I thought.
and it's like item C, paragraph 1, or line 1.
Oh, okay, that would be on the one we're not discussing.
Yeah, that's-
tonight.
I think the biggest thing we would need is just clarification that this is separate from
Yeah.
the, community center.
Yeah, this is just the community center that we're discussing tonight, the
Yeah.
usage policy for it. Okay, any more discussion or questions on the policy itself? Okay, hearing none, then, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And then can we get the other open space, user policy for next time? And then next is the update of the town's organizational chart, which you have in your packet. The purpose of this update is to add
Mayor Pro Tem, sorry if I could just back us up to item E, the water quality treatment plan.
oh, sorry, yeah, looks like I'm skipping ahead. And
That's
that's
okay.
why I wanted that be put on.
We can table it if you want.
No, I think it's important to have a little discussion on this one. And it's timely in that I noticed in Nextdoor or some of the other social media that we had, there has been quite a lively discussion about the awful quality of the local water. And of course, there again, you know, it's related, the groundwater is what it is because we have these limestone canyons down there and it all gets dissolved into it. The question is can something be done other than individual treatment like water softeners, et cetera, which really can protect your appliances but does absolutely nothing for the drinkability of the water, really. So I wanted to put this on there because for the first time in Edgewood's history, I think, we have millions of dollars now allocated through the legislature to explore the feasibility of actually treating the water. And the way that can be done is either through a public-private partnership, because our utilities here are not owned by the town. They're owned by the public utility of EPCOR and the co-op, Entranosa Co-op. So the town could provide a treatment plant and treat the water and then charge EPCOR and Entranosa for that. Or we could do a public-private partnership where they contribute in some ways to that. They will still have to increase their water rates to the end users to some degree in order to cover the cost, whether it's a public-private partnership or the town charges for it. So we thought, given the fact that we've got this money allocated, that we're going to start at some point here the feasibility studies to determine the feasibility of how to do it and the best way to do it, then it would be good to bring it up on tonight's agenda and just introduce it for subject. There's no action on this tonight, but I wanted to bring it up for discussion. So does anyone have questions or comments regarding this issue?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
actually, this item can be up for action. And what I was thinking about when I was going through the agenda, what I would like to see on this right now is because of the way that the funding source is written with the legislative finance also, is that we need to start working real close with the environmental department in order to get some of the funding released. And what I would like to see, and I can make the motion if you guys would entertain my thoughts, and that is that we go ahead and start this process with the engineering services that we have on staff right now, so that they can start that process of the funding sources and get all of that in line so that we can not be left in the rear down the road. This is a project that is highly anticipated by the town of Edgewood, and I believe that they really need to have this service available to them as soon as possible. So I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, let me ask a question of the town manager. I know we have some steps that we have to take. We were talking about that today before this actual grant can be written. Go ahead.
Yes, because of the previous audits, I think the mayor can explain this a little bit more elegantly than I can, of why we need to get our asset management certified.
Right. So that would be a preliminary step before we can proceed with any expenditures in that regard. So I'm wondering if maybe we should.
Let me get more of a clarification on that from the mayor if I can.
Okay, Mayor Harmeal, go ahead, please.
Okay. So just a few thoughts running through my mind here. Just to back up a step and remind the public and everyone that our first or second meeting of July, we did pass a resolution for, committing the town that it is our policy that we want to treat the water. And that passed in early January as a very high priority. We also did vote to add it on to the ICIP, and of course accepted the legislature's support of this project for the community. And that was $1.15 million. We also have the ARPA funds and the CARES Act funds, so federal funds for these types of projects, which is allowable. So we have checked on that as well, and I believe that is a sizable amount of money as well, which does need to be spent post haste. And so that process can actually start. We went out to bid for engineering services, and I believe that one of the engineering firms has quite a bit of experience in this area. And so my motion was actually going to be to authorize the town manager, not that she officially needs authorization, but just to make it, coming from the commission's direction, that to go ahead and get a task order with CDM Smith, who has the expertise in this area, to move forward with the planning and the expenditures that are available.
Okay.
So then, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we have a motion on the table that hasn't been seconded yet, but I see that they're probably compatible. Are you agreeable with the mayor's motion to amend yours?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
I will second that motion then.
Okay, so do you want Phil to be the first and me the second, or me the first and Phil the second?
Well,
Or-
I think what we've done is amended Phil's motion to be your verbiage. So, yeah, and I seconded, that motion, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have, I kind of lost my train of thought here. Oh, the other piece of the puzzle here. So there's the federal funds that are already available and can be used for this project, probably $1 million plus. Then we have the legislative funds, which is 1.15 million, which also may go or should go toward the project. And it's not just a feasibility study, it's actually to make purchases, water rights if we need to, whatever that we need to actually build the facility. And then the third piece is the federal appropriations that we requested from Senator Lujan's office. And so we had excellent news just in an email, I think it was today or yesterday, that they are moving forward with that appropriation request at the federal level. And so for that, that should be additional funding if it's approved. Of course, if it passes the legislation, then we will receive federal funds as well. Now, they have not mentioned anything to us at all about a match, and so I'm hoping that it's just straight appropriation. We'll see what they tell us, though, when it actually comes down to it. They might give us more information. Regardless, even if there was a match, we have match because we have these other funds and we have state funds as well. So there's those three, kind of three funding sources that are going to hopefully allow this to happen. And I think right now we just need to get the task order moving along. And my other comment as well was that, some people were a little confused and were thinking that maybe it was just for the people, the residents who have EPCOR, but in all actuality, I think the preference, if it's feasibly possible, of the commission that we had talked about before was having Entranosa in both services, having the water treated. And so that's my comment on that part, that it wouldn't just be one service or another, but hopefully for both. So
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan, and it's gonna be a little bit of a trick because of their wells are not in the same areas, so we'll have to figure out how to do that connection, but that's the task of the engineers, so it'd be good to get them started on it.
right. And we do actually have quite a bit of engineering information that does need to be updated, but I forwarded that along to Lujan's office. That was from a previous PER on the water treatment. And as everybody knows, there's several options, reverse osmosis and other technologies. Some of the technologies in that PER are just an automatic no way, that's probably not good for Edgewood. But we'll see where that goes once it's updated and what the engineers are going to recommend.
Okay. Any further comments or?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Madam Mayor, I'd like for you to go ahead and make the motion, and I'll second it, because it has to be restated for the record.
Okay, so I'll make the motion that we authorize the town manager to enter into a task order with CDM Smith for beginning the process of the water quality treatment for Edgewood.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and I assume since you requested that, you've withdrawn your previous motion.
That was my next
Okay,
comment.
thank you.
So yes, I'll withdraw my motion, original motion, and go with, Madam Mayor's.
Okay, so the last motion is on the table. Any further discussion?
One quick question. So the equipment that we buy, the town will be owning it, and then we will be technically leasing it out?
That is one possibility. A public-private partnership would be one aspect where the users or the facilities and public utilities would contribute. So it'd be a true partnership where they contribute some of the capital and operate it. The other way is to, for the town to actually treat the water and do a usage charge per 1,000 gallons is another option.
Mayor Pro Tem, just another comment here. I do remember that there was an incorrect post on social media bringing up anti-donation, and we thoroughly discussed that with our state delegation and federal delegation, you know, independently of any water service. And they both referenced very successful projects that have done P3s, they call them, and we're very excited about this project, and said that it would be very good for the community, and that these things have been very successful in the past, and that there was not a problem with anti-donation. And so just the fact that you have state and federal delegations, you know, governor's legal review, federal reviews, all of that, pretty much, you know, endorsing this project and this concept does prove that it's already been scrutinized, and this is not an issue as far as the use of taxpayer dollars. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it's much wiser to, you know, since the beginning, I've always said it's much wiser to fix the problem that the community is actually having a problem with, which is the quality of the water, not the water provider per se. It's not that we needed to take over and condemn EPCOR. It's just the nature of the water itself that needs to be treated. And again, this is going to help not only our residents, but also our wastewater treatment plant, which hopefully, you know, the input going into wastewater treatment plant will be better. And then, you know, it'll help with capacity and other engineering problems that are occurring right now at the wastewater treatment plant. Should save money as well at the wastewater treatment plant by investing some money into water treatment, which again benefits the whole community. So.
Right, and that the engineers all agree that one of the main problems with the sewer plant, and the reason it's been so costly to operate and required so much maintenance, is because of the high mineralization that destroys a lot of the filtering components at the sewer plant. So I see that we have a gentleman that would like to speak. This isn't the public comment section, but without objection, we can allow it. Any objections?
No objection from me.
Sir, would you please come up to the microphone?
And could I see who's speaking? Thank you,
Sure.
Hasty.
Joe Ward, and I moved here in 2019. I'm a New Mexico native. I've lived in a number of areas here in New Mexico, as well as some time spent in Canada and California. And this is the first place I've ever lived where I couldn't drink my own water. Now this is about 10 refills worth from my dog's water. I don't even want my dogs drinking this water. I don't use it to cook. I don't drink it. And yet Edgewood has maintained contracts with this company and chosen not to improve the water. Now this also, keep in mind, I'm curious as to how much Edgewood is going to pay me for the ruin of my appliances as this goes into the water lines and the appliance lines. I'm wondering, are you guys going to pay for me to get a new water heater fairly soon? Because it ruins the pipes in them. Are you going to pay to replace my pipes in my home?
Well, we appreciate your comments.
I take it you're not going to do that, but,
Well, for clarity's sake, we don't own the utilities here. In fact, we don't own any aspect of it. We don't have contracts with any of the
and,
utilities.
you know, the cost of EPCOR is the most outrageous prices I have ever had. I had a leak that they denied was a leak at their source that they said they had no responsibility to maintain. I had to pay a plumber to come to my house to check their equipment and prove that the valve was faulty and get it replaced. That was my cost. So I hope that, you're interested in doing something about this years and years and years and years into this problem. I went to go pick up a friend of mine's, hot water heater that they were getting replaced, and I thought, no problem, I worked in construction forever. I'll just pop that puppy onto my shoulder, put it in my truck, and take it to the dump, right? Couldn't do it, couldn't even budget. It was like solid concrete. I had to hire somebody to come help me get it off the property. So you've known about this, and you have responsibility for this as a community.
Yeah, this has been a geological problem for several million years, so the groundwater itself, and there was an option, I think, that EPCOR at one point actually proposed to its customers that for an extra $15 a month, I think it was, that they would actually treat the water, and somehow that didn't pass. But at this point in time, this is the beginning. This commission took office, all 5 of us, in January. Previous administrations haven't had the wherewithal or the interest to do this. So we are starting the process. We've actually taken the steps to allocate money to this from our legislature and specifically for this problem. So we are on it. We are addressing it. I understand the nature of the problem, having lived here. It is a geological problem, but that doesn't mean we can't do something about it.
It's not a geological problem. It's a water filtration system problem.
Well, our engineers tell us that there's no way to filter it. You must treat it. So that's what we're working on tonight.
Okay, can I get some access to those studies so that I can review them?
Certainly,
myself?
certainly,
How do
whatever we
I
have.
do that?
Okay. Oh, well, you can submit a request from the clerk here to receive whatever information we have on it.
Okay, I appreciate you hearing.
I think you'll get a lot more out of EPCOR, though. They actually have a lot more about the water quality analysis than we do.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate you hearing.
And we have one more, without objection.
No objection.
Okay, please, ma'am.
I apologize because this is my first time coming to a town hall meeting. I moved here about 1.5 years ago, and I have the same issue. I recently had installed a water softener and reverse osmosis system, and the water that comes out of the reverse osmosis is carbonated. You can't tell me that's a geological issue, that it's carbonated. Something at EPCOR is going on, that they're carbonating the water, and from what I understand, there's been quite a few customers for this company in the Edgewood area that have had the same complaints. The company that I've been dealing with, Universal Water Systems, has been trying to reach out to EPCOR to get some answers, and they've stated that they keep running into a brick wall. They don't have to give them answers because they're not their customer. We are their customer. We need some kind of a resolution for this. This is not acceptable. It's easier for me to go to Walmart and buy bottled water than it is to get it out of my tap. There's something wrong with that. I'm paying for the water. It should be drinkable.
Yeah, I think this is about one of the top 3 issues that people in Edgewood have talked about with us. And that's why we're taking the steps we are tonight to get this problem started down the road of being solved.
And in the meantime, what are we supposed to do? Because it's unacceptable that we have to not be able to drink our own water. And I have the same issue that this gentleman had, which is I don't give my dogs the water because it's horrible.
Yeah.
I buy bottled water for them, and, you know, that's why I got the system installed, the reverse osmosis, which, you know, was hoping to take care of the issue, and it cleans the water. Water's clean, but it's carbonated. Well, that doesn't do any good. I, you know, don't prefer to have carbonated water to drink.
Sure. Okay, well, we appreciate your comments. We are taking this action tonight. We're getting ready to hold a vote to initiate the process to.
Right,
to do some-
that's great that you're gonna initiate the process, but how long is that gonna take? You know, in the meantime.
Understand. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem.
May I have your name for the record?
Deborah Cross?
I'm sorry, Mayor Jaramillo, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to encourage, any businesses or residents, to write letters of support, for the town of Edgewood for improving water quality, because that helps us obtain funding. And so Senator Lujan's office, that's one of the things that they specifically asked of us. And I asked several businesses, I think I received only 2 letters. So if we could, you know, the community members that are there this evening, if you would be willing to get the information from our town clerk over there, or our town manager, either one, write letters of support for what we're trying to do to obtain funding to get this treatment plant designed and built and operational. I would really, really appreciate that, because anything we can do to show them that the community really needs this, and that it would save our community members money and hassle and effort, that would be great, because they do need to hear from us. So.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Jaramillo. Any other discussion?
So I have EPCOR. I know that a few of the other commissioners do as well. This is one of the reasons I chose to run, was to help get the water quality improved, and I know this is exactly why these other commissioners did as well. This was an issue that was not, the last administration didn't have any interest in helping improve the water quality. As you know, government, it takes a little bit of time. We're trying, okay? We've only been in office for about 6 months. And if you look at what we've accomplished in that 6 months, we're gonna work as hard and as quickly as we can to remedy this situation. I mean, it affects all of us.
And are you also having an issue with carbonation in your water?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yeah, my dad owns a plumbing and heating business, so I understand. My reverse osmosis, I felt it was a waste of money.
right, that's the concern that I have.
And that's what we're trying to see. We have to go through studies and everything to figure out why exactly we're having these issues.
Why is EPCOR not doing that? I guess that's my complaint, is there needs to be accountability to them to be able to do something on their end. In some of the folks and people that I've talked to, apparently there's supposed to be like an aeration type system to where they can aerate the water, and that will help release the gases from the carbonation. Are they entertaining anything like that? Are we looking at anything like that to try and help deal with the issue now until we can get something set up to where we can, you know, have our own water treatment system? In the interim, I guess, is what I'm wondering, what's gonna happen with that? Has anybody checked into it? Has anybody asked questions about it?
This is kind of the beginning of that process where we task an engineer to look at all the options, and we'll have to make decisions and vote on which path we want to take. So we don't know, I don't know about what you're proposing there, but we're gonna look at all the options. That's what we're starting the process to do tonight. Feasibility first, design, and then construction.
Right, looking at years. But, yeah, and you're talking about designing something new. I'm talking about what exists currently. Is there anything that can be done about what exists currently to help improve what we're dealing with until we get to the point where we can design and build something?
Yeah, we don't own, Edgewood does not own any water facilities. We don't have any ability to affect that. That's what we're starting this process.
Yeah, you should have ability to affect it because we're doing business with them. We should be able to hold them accountable to some sort of standard to help work with us. They should be working with us to help us find a resolution, not just saying, oh, well, you know, that's the way the water is, there's limestone and we just have to deal with it. There's, you know, if we're gonna do a feasibility study and build something to deal with that, we should be able to do something in the interim until that facility is built.
Well, like we're saying, that this may become a public-private partnership, maybe a complete public facility, but we don't own any of the water rights, we don't own the water. As a customer of EPCOR, I would think that you could be able to affect that by talking with them.
Yeah, like I'm affecting it here.
Mayor Pro Tem, I did want to add that we had another community member who would like to speak, Martha Eden.
Okay, I see that she's on GoToMeeting, so, Ms. Eden, if you'd like to, unmute yourself.
She was just here a second ago. Maybe she'll come back on, but Martha, if you, there she is. If you could unmute, Martha. Is there a way to, unmute her?
Maybe we're looking at it here.
Martha, if you can go to the bottom of your screen and click on the mic button.
Got it.
There you go.
I just think people who have moved here recently need to understand our history. That when people moved here in 1914, seeing all the green trees, they thought there'd be lots of water. Well, there's not. Many of our residents out here haul water, and the newcomers need to understand that when a company like EPCOR has agreed to at least provide water that comes out of the faucet when you turn it on, that has value. I think we've done everything we can, and they've done everything they can so far to make things better. But I love what you're doing. I think the process you've decided to take, the path forward makes sense. And for people who think we should have done something sooner, we simply couldn't. So now we have the government, we have the funds, we have the desire, and we have the path forward. We will get it done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on GoToMeeting? If you would, please unmute yourself.
Hello?
Mr. Seegers, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Ray Seegers, and I've lived here about 49 years now. When I first came here, with the exception, the water company, when it was originally started, served people about a mile north of the Edgewood interchange and about 3/4 of a mile south. And that was it. Water was impossible to hit by wells. The water was very hard, just like it is now, because it's the same well. But, you know, we found that it was so good to have water that was wet, that hard was not a problem. Now, I've replaced water heaters. I've replaced all the things people are talking about over the years. I just take that as a portion of what you do when you live in the country and you have knowledge before you move here that we have hard water. I would love to see you improve it if you can. But I've also seen estimates that it would cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $70 a month to do the treatment necessary. And that came from the study paid for by the last administration under Bassett. Their engineers made estimates like that. And I'm not really willing or care to spend an extra $70 a month on my water bill. Now, I do give it to my dogs, and they live till about 18 years old. I give it to my horses. I've given it to 4 kids I raised here, and they're strong and healthy. And I gave it to 4 stepkids who are pretty strong and healthy. So, you know, I'm one of those people that really is still very grateful that we have water. Yeah, I'd like it to get better, but there's a limit to what you can pay. Water softeners with their problems, I think that's my solution, but I don't really want to pay for that. So I will buy my bottled water because it's awful easy to buy and fairly inexpensive, and be eternally grateful that I have water. And all of us that have lived here anywhere as long as I have and before, we're very grateful when these water systems came into being and started to supply us with wet water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Segers. Is there anyone else that would like to speak either on GoToMeeting or, see, we have a couple of phone callers. Could you unmute those, please? Anyone on the phone like to speak? Go ahead, please. Okay. Hearing none, we're at a point now where we can either do some more discussion, or if we're ready, we can vote. Further discussion?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem.
Go ahead.
When I was living in Wisconsin, the problem that we had up there, wasn't the carbonate that was in the water, it was the sulfur. The water, if you took it straight out of the well, the water was so bad, you would have to hold your breath when you took a shower. I did purchase a unit, though what it was designed to do is when the water goes in there, it separates the gases from the water and then moves on. It wasn't a cheap unit. The one that I had, I bought, that was, I've been here 13 years, about 23 years ago, but it did remove all the gases where the water coming out of the taps no longer had that rotten egg smell. I mean, it was actually good water. The only problem I had with the water after that is there was so much iron into it, anything the water sat on turned orange. But that is, for anybody who's out there and talking to your water treatment people, ask them about that. And it's a separate tank. It just goes downstream from the water softener itself. It goes into this tank, and that's all it does. It allows that water to sit in there and help separate the gases from the water. So when the water exits, it no longer has that water, so you don't have the fizz. Even with the sulfur gases in the water, it gave it the same appearance. It just had the smell. I don't know if anybody's ever had real bad sulfur water before, but.
It's all over the Galisteo Basin. Every area seems to have its particular problem.
Yeah.
River valleys are a little better that way, but when you get up in the mountains, it's carbonates or it's sulfur and various problems. So right now, everybody has the option to use individual water softeners, which will save your appliances, don't necessarily do much for the taste of the water or drinkability. Okay, so we're providing another option maybe here, or at least going down that road. So if there's no further discussion, then we'll hold the vote.
Madam Mayor, could you restate?
Yes, so I made a motion to authorize the town manager and administration to proceed with a task order with CDM Smith to move this process of water quality treatment for Edgewood forward.
I second.
Okay, no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So next item on the agenda is the update of the town's organizational chart, which we have in the packet. And the purpose was to.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm not sure that I see that. If somebody could point me to the right page. I'm just not seeing that in the packet.
It was not in the packet.
Oh, it's not in the packet.
I mean, we may need to hold off on this item.
Okay. The purpose of this was to add the financial officer, financial manager. Okay.
We did actually vote on adding the financial manager to the org chart, but I think maybe this is a formality of having it in the packet next time and doing another vote.
So we can do that for the June 21st meeting? Okay. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is approval to extend the interim town manager and interim town clerk treasurer's contracts from July 1st through September 30. 2022 to cover the transition period. So the original contracts expire at the end of this month, correct?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
We have, sent an addendum to PERA, and then we have not heard anything from them.
Okay. So first, we need to approve those extensions. And of course, the purpose is we've got a new town manager coming in, and we're still advertising for the permanent clerk's position. So we do need your help a lot between now and then.
She told me she was gonna stay here for three years.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on this.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Go ahead,
I'd like to make a motion that, for approval to extend an interim, town manager and the interim town clerk treasurer contract from July to September 30th, 2023.
2023 or 2022?
I'm waiting for a reply. 2022 for the transition period.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on this one? I see we have a gentleman in the audience tonight. We broke, protocol so many times that, do we have any objection?
No.
Yes.
No objection from me.
Mayor, would you like to, introduce, Mr. Berger?
Yeah, this is, you're talking about town organizational chart, and I brought you, and all of you've gotten a copy of the EOC and emergency management programs, which I'm working on, right now. And I kind of wanted to explain that a little bit so that you guys kind of understood what this was about and how it works.
Is this on the agenda tonight?
It was supposed to be under the mayor's, matters from the mayor, but I guess I got missed or forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah, my apologies, Bob. I can't see the audience when I'm online here, and so I did not realize you were in the audience. But yeah, this is informational purposes only that I had asked Bob to present under matters from the mayor. So if there's no
Okay.
objection, it's simply information. There's no decisions to be made. And we don't even need to really discuss, so.
No objection from the commission, then please go ahead, Mr. Burke.
But before we do that,
Mayor
we
Pro Tem?
already have a motion and a second.
Yeah,
Can we go ahead and
Yeah.
vote and then move on and
Okay.
then add this as another item?
rather than having to go back and restate the motion.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we've got, the motion that's on the floor is to approve the extension of the interim town manager and clerk treasurer till September 30, 2022. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Mayor Armijo, I couldn't hear you, please.
Aye.
You still on? Oh, okay. Very good, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Berger, please go ahead.
Okay, so I was asked to kind of put something together to make it understood what I'm actually working on, how it works, how the structures are. So there's an emergency management program, and if you go to the next slide, the emergency management structure includes normally an emergency manager, a training officer for the training program for this, an exercise officer so that you can evaluate how it's all going, a continuity of operations officer who's really responsible for a continuity of operations plan. And the emergency operations center falls under that emergency manager. The Emergency Operations Center also has a communications and administrative support process in that. So everything that you see above Emergency Operations Center really supports the efforts of that Emergency Operations Center. Emergency manager, I mean, there's plans that we have to have, there's standard operating guides, there's forms, there's whatever that's going to actually be in that emergency operations center that will be used for emergencies and whatever from size, based on size. But that's the emergency management structure. If you go to the next slide, we have the EOC structure. And there'll be another slide after this, which will show you what that structure looks like. But we have to meet a national incident management system requirement from the federal
people. It was really designed around 2005. By 2017, they've really gotten it finessed pretty well. So that is a standard that the EOC will operate under. This also provides support for the emergency response organizations and the general public. See, that's where your plans are for preparedness and whatever. It helps the public to know. We can put stuff up there to let them know, listen, you got a bunch of dead pinyon trees out there in your backyard, which I do. We're gonna have to cut them down because they're gonna be, you know, lightning bolt magnets here once the monsoons start, which isn't gonna be good because they're really dry. Coordinates the EOC activities with the county, city, state, and federal assets. So that's what the EOC is connected to. So every county that's around us, if there's something that overlaps the counties under the unified command structure, where we're using a lot of different agencies involved, the EOC will be in contact with these other EOCs to work resource issues or whatever else may be needed. And it's going to be based, again, on the size of an incident. So there are 5 sizes. 95% of the responses that the police and the fire departments and the medical do is a type 5, which means it's just the local resources. You're not probably going to have the EOC connected. When you start moving up to type 4 and type 3, it's going to be a smaller group of people that are going to have to show up. When you get to type 3 and above, you're looking at a full-blown structure. This provides legal protection for the town. It establishes the strategic, tactical, and task level actions in support of emergency response and for the public. And we utilize, it's based off of an incident action plan that's developed in the EOC, which uses what I call SMART. They're called SMART objectives. And SMART objectives means they're specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, and relevant, and they are time-bound. So it's all actions by objective that occurs with that structure. In the next slide, you have kind of an operation here, and this is normally type 3 and above. You have in the very top above the emergency director an issues management group. They don't direct. What they do is they look at problems that may exist between, say, town issues or policies and what the emergency director may be trying to do. If there's a conflict there, the issues management group will settle that out. And it could be financial, it could be a legal issue, you know, whatever's going on there, that would be called in. You can see the structure that you see there is pretty much how the fire department responds as well. So there's a planning chief or section chief normally in the field. There's a direct linkage to our planning manager or our operations manager or our logistics manager or our finance admin manager. So this is designed, again, to take care of everything that's outside of the response. But say the police chief needs 3 buses to be deployed, that EOC can get that for them. That's what will be available once this thing is put together. Does anybody have any questions?
As I understand it, before you got involved and started helping us with this plan, we were pretty much at the mercy of the Santa Fe County plan. We didn't have our own.
Santa Fe, well, here's the difference in it. Santa Fe County, which is doing our fire protection, answers to Santa Fe County, doesn't answer to the town. When you get called by the fire, I mean, I don't see anybody from the fire department here. They should be here. There should be a representative here. You as the town and everything that's incorporated in that town is the responsibility of the town. Right. And you didn't have that before. You're a separate entity, and even under the state, if you look at the all-hazard, their all-hazard plan, they list cities, towns, counties. All of them are separate entities that are recognized for providing EOCs. If you go to Albuquerque, right now you have about 7 or 8 EOCs in the town of Albuquerque. Bernalillo County, you have the city, you have the FBI has their own, the hospitals have theirs, the airport has one, the base the base has one, and Sandia Labs has one. There's 7 of them right there, and that's because they're responsible for their specific geographical area or their specific functions. So that's how that works.
So this gives us more local input, local control, and looking at the interest of Edgewood as opposed to Santa Fe County.
That's correct.
Good.
Now, the other thing too is, which will come down the pike here, will be, you know, the fire department that's there, you're paying for that fire service. Well, they need to be engaged with the EOC here as well. Now, they may respond to the Santa Fe County EOC, that's great. But somebody's gonna have to be coordinating with what the town's interests are, or what we need to do to support them, who are supporting us, right? We're paying for that, but we also, there needs to be a connection between that.
Right, and is that something you're gonna pursue as well on our?
That's all gonna get pursued as we build this EOC.
Okay.
Right now, I'm in the process of putting all the plans together. If you go back to that first slide, the emergency manager, the training officer, the exercise guy, the coop guy, I'm doing all of that process in putting those plans together along with the standard, all the way down. Once that's built and we have the tables and the computer systems and the web EOC system in, that's when we start connecting all of the other agencies and everybody else that we're gonna need. And there needs to be an EOC or an emergency management committee that's gonna be involved with that. And I have already drawn who those people should be in that process of doing the plan, so. And I know how this is supposed to go, but there are things I don't know within this town structure. That's why I need committees and other things that are gonna be involved to make this a very good project.
And you'll be bringing those requests forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I know you've got a tremendous amount of experience in this. It's an area that not many of us know much about, so I really appreciate all the hard work you're putting in and look forward to the development of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Mayor Harvey.
So for the next agenda, I would like to ask that we include this PowerPoint in the packet and add under discussion action, the procurement that needs to happen for some of the equipment purchases that need to get moving along. And, you know, any other, I guess before we put out the agenda, if there's any other decisions or anything that need to be made, we can add that on to next week's agenda too. So I thought this was good just for information only, under matters for mayor this week. But with that in mind, knowing that next week we're gonna have to take some action and have a discussion on you know, anything else that we need to clarify, and also for sure the procurement. And just again want to thank Mr. Berger for his time and expertise, being a resident of Edgewood and volunteering to do this much needed project. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so next item on the agenda is the report on the list of procurements that have been awarded. Is that the town manager?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem, these next two items, H and I, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm wondering if this is something that we need to bring up Tuesday.
Okay, is that?
We can do that. I do have the list. I did not have a chance to put it as a part of the packet.
Okay, and
I can give you verbal. Would you rather that I put it in the packet next week?
Mayor, what's your pleasure there? She can give us the verbal, or we can add it to the packet for next time.
I think it's probably best to add it to the packet next time. We probably could have done an email, you know, within the 3 days or whatever, but that way the public knows what, you know, just full transparency, you know, that these are the procurements that have been awarded, and if the public wanted to comment or had any questions, then they could do that at the next meeting.
Okay. And you want that for I as well? We've got a somewhat of a time-sensitive issue there.
Okay, well, that's a pleasure of the commission. If somebody wants to email that to me, I would be happy to take a look at it while we discuss.
Ben, have you got, that by email? And you have the mayor's email address, you can forward that to her. Then we've got a handout for this.
Yeah, I handed all of you guys the,
Okay, so this item is really about, Echo Ridge has been proceeding. We had all these, deadlines, June 30th, that we have, grants expiring. We've only been on this project now for probably 45 days, 60 days at max. So it's been a real trick to get this, implemented in time. And there were a lot of unknowns on the project. It's been so long that the fencing, that, there were estimates on the quantity of fencing that were needed, but as it turned out, and I'm gonna let Ben address this, as it turned out when we surveyed it, that there were fence line encroachments on the neighbors. So we had to abandon that part of the fence, which required more fencing, and there was more fencing down. So I'm gonna let Ben address that and tell us what the substance of this is.
All right, so, I handed you guys both the original contract from Tri-West Fencing, and then I also, printed out the increases, the quantity increases. Mayor, I emailed the increases to you. I did not have the, email handy for the original, but in essence, what's going on there is the plan of development, which was done for this property in 2018, so it's been 4 years, had about 5,700 feet of fence on it. So that is what the Tri-West proposal was based on, with that $64,000 and some change for the original contract. There is an increase of 2,720 feet of fencing needed to finish the property, and about 1,000 feet of that is due to encroachments on the north side, where the existing fence was actually outside of the Echo Ridge property. So we could not leave it there, and this was, we had a surveyor come do the property lines. So we found that one. And then about 1,700 feet of that overage is due to the fact that over the last 4 years, about 1,700 feet is downed. The original posts were wood, and they were not treated wood. It was like branches they used from the trees on site. So those have rotted out, fallen over, the fence is rusted and torn up. So we needed to replace those sections. So, like I said, there was about 5,700 feet quoted. We ended up needing all of that plus an additional 2,720 feet. So that's where those line item increases are coming from. There's the wire, there's the T-posts, there's the wood posts for the corners and angles. And a big part of this is, anyone who's been out there, it's very rocky. And also, you can't just drive up to where they have to work. They've got to haul this stuff in with wheelbarrows, ATVs, whatever they can, and they're jackhammering some of these T-posts in because it's just rock. So that's why the cost is there. But again, the main issue was just the plan of development was old, and some of that existing fence was not on the property. So that's the reason for the increase in quantities.
And just to remind, this was procured under the statewide purchasing contract, so they're all unit prices. It's not a lump sum bid, it's unit.
Yeah.
So by the foot, by the T-post, by the,
Yeah, and that's what I tried to break out with all those quantities listed. There's post, wire, the concrete around the wood post, just all those are the unit costs that were original. So those haven't changed. It's merely the quantity overrun because it's so much more than they had quoted.
and this grant will expire in 2 weeks, and we'll only be able to utilize the money if we get the work completed within that period of time. That's why this is so time sensitive. So it's been a real trick to get that all organized and get it going, and we want to keep it going, so that's what's necessary in order to finish the fencing.
And just so you guys know, I have verified all of these footages in the field with the measuring wheel, with the foreman on site, so there's no funny business going on with the contractor. I've verified all these are legit. You know, the work is obvious there, measured, it's cut and dry.
Okay.
So I see that Solomon has some maybe slight concerns that it might not be enough hours.
Yes, and that is the one thing we can't predict. We can predict the number of posts, the footage of fence, the hours are, and they submit their certified payroll to us. So that was basically what we did there was we took the hours they've done for the 5,700 feet, extrapolated that out to another 2,700 feet. That's where we came up with that unit. So, you know, he's saying that could be the one variable there. The footages are locked in, but.
Any other questions or discussion?
But again, on those hours, they have to do certified payroll, and also we know, I go by there every afternoon, so I know when they're out there. So.
Yeah, we compared these when we started and actually projected about 3 weeks, which is what it's been.
Right.
This should be about a week and a half, because it's roughly a little over 50% of what's been done already.
But I'm guessing it's probably the more labor intensive part.
Well, the one section of this is on the south side where there's no, there's not even a trail to get to there. You have to walk it in, so you know, the access is a little tough, just for that one section.
Yeah.
But
Most of it's on the east
so
side or the south side?
the east side they can get to, it says 975 in the original plan. There's about 1,100 feet on the south side. That's kind of the tough access.
Okay.
But, you know, they've done a good job on the north. There was a big section that was tough to get to, and they made it work within their allotted hours for that original section. So.
Okay, I was saying maybe you should increase it a little bit.
And that's something we could do.
Yeah, I mean, may as well go overestimate. We don't have to spend that money, we don't spend it.
Or the other option would be we'll hear from him if he goes over. And then we could take it up. We actually got good news, that our grant, the other grant that we've got, about $250,000, those grant agreements should be approved later this week or early next week. So it should be a seamless, we'll pick up where we left off. And if there are issues like that, we can address.
Okay.
And so, on that note, contractors are not allowed to go over what they are approved for. So they won't be able to just go over on hours. And we, you know, so I guess this is procurement, right? To where we are doing technically a change order on the procurement.
Yeah, this is a change order.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, if they're planning to be done with this piece by June 30 and they think that's okay, and then there's, you know, some other procurement or something, then another change order could come, I guess, and maybe from a different funding source. But I think that Commissioner Donner is right. If they need a little bit of wiggle room with the hours, not that we want them to use it, but we probably won't have time, I mean, before they need to spend the hours to approve it, right?
Yeah, I would, so I quote hours every day. I usually quote some sort of buffer, just in case we need it or not. You know, 40, 80 hours more gives them just a tiny bit more time.
What are you thinking in terms of extra time there? Because I know he's saying that, and he's right, Ben is right, that this is a little more treacherous territory and harder access.
Yeah, I would add probably another 100 hours.
So we're adding 200 right now.
On top of what we have currently.
On top of what we already had. So.
So they're done with the other hours, correct?
Yes.
I would add another 100 to this.
Then what would you say, you're an engineer, what would you say that, you know, for the extra difficulty in the terrain, what would you guesstimate?
I would say because it's around 1,000 feet, I don't think they would use more than an additional 40 tops.
Okay, why don't we do this? I'm gonna propose that we make a motion to approve the change order as it is, with the latitude that if it's necessary, we approve an additional 40 hours if we need it.
I'd second that.
Okay. Any discussion or questions on that motion? Go ahead, Commissioner Nye.
Commissioner Jerry Powers. So that's gonna end up giving them, a total of 2 weeks, or, excuse me, a week and a half at 40 hours. That would work. So I'm in.
Yeah, because if we go over another 40 hours, that they would be out of time. We'd be hitting the deadline at that point, so.
Yeah.
If it's over that, you'd have to.
Well, that's what the additional week would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if they needed 40 hours, they will have underestimated by 20%, which is a pretty big underestimate. So I think that's more than adequate.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, if not, we'll hold the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ben. Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. We've had a bunch, and I don't see any more, unless you want to make some more, Ben, in the audience. But if we have people on GoToMeeting, this would be the time for general public comments. So if you're on GoToMeeting and you would like to speak, please unmute yourself. Okay, seeing none, we do have, if there's anyone on the telephone, would you please unmute them? And if you'd like to speak from the telephone, please go ahead. Okay, hearing none, I think we are done with public comment for tonight. Next is future meetings. We're going to have a regular commission meeting on June 21st, 2022, special commission meeting June 28th. Future agenda items will include budget adjustment requests for 2022 and wastewater treatment plant reports from Larry Hall, in addition to the other items that we have added tonight. Right? Okay. So we've got a scheduled closed session. Would somebody like to make the motion to go into closed session?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Please, Commissioner.
I have a question on the budget adjustment request.
Sure.
Madam Mayor, when are we gonna start working on the, assets?
So the assets have been in progress for quite a long time, and Manager Davis reported out on that at the last meeting. But just to kind of recap, we've been gathering information from accounting pieces to the puzzle and engineering pieces to the puzzle to make sure that we have a complete and accurate listing of capital assets, not just from 2018 forward, but the town's entire list of assets, including infrastructure. And so there was a procurement done probably at least a month ago for REDW, an accounting firm, to assist with an independent look at that and pull together the information in conjunction with Kay and Amelia and Stephanie, so that we can provide that list to the commission and we can approve it, certify it if we believe it's accurate, and then provide that to the state along with a statement of what we have done to our internal controls to change this situation. And like I've said, I think this comes from a long history of the town and even previous administrations. That's not necessarily just a current problem, but the infrastructure, I do not believe, ever got on the books correctly. So this is something I've been saying since 2018, long-standing problem, and hopefully now we will have this corrected very soon, hopefully within a month.
Madam Mayor, doesn't this have to be done before you can submit the budget in for 23?
No, it does not.
It doesn't? Okay, thank you.
No problem. And on that note, we have also asked assistance from DFA for our final budget and final bars with Michael Steninger, who is a great resource for local governments, and that request is pending DFA right now. And he should be able to assist with any of the grants and things that need to be cleaned up on the final budget.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion for the closed session.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Commissioner Brennan.
I'd like to make a motion as per, roll call vote pursuant to NMSA 1978. We go, for section 10-15-1H7 for confidential discussion regarding litigation by John Bassett versus the town of Edgewood. Case number D101 CV 2022-00195. Also section 10151H7 for confidential discussion regarding possible litigation by Horrocks Engineering for unpaid invoices for work performed for the town. And section 10151H7 for confidential discussion regarding possible litigation, 171B State Road, 3344 Edgewood Elementary School South Building. And finally, section 10151H7 for the confidential discussion regarding pending litigation, Town of Edgewood, McGill, ETL versus John Bassett et al. And related Court of Appeals case A1CA 39388.
Thanks for that. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Mayor Jaramillo.
Aye.
Mayor Brennan. Excuse me, Commissioner Brennan.
Ooh, you just got promoted.
Aye.
Or demoted.
Commissioner Donner.
Aye.
Commissioner Nye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So we're in closed session. We'll be back. Okay, so we need a vote to come back out into open session. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to come back into open session.
Okay, and do we need a roll call on this?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So we'll do a roll call vote. Mayor Harvey,
Aye.
Commissioner Donner,
Aye.
Commissioner Anaya,
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan,
Aye.
and I vote aye. And I will affirm that no decisions were made, only the subject matters posted were discussed, and I had no conflicts of interest.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
And I so affirm.
And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Audrey, are you cold?
Yeah, I got really cold. So, all right, good night, guys.
Good night.